Hi team, hope you're all doing well. I felt like I needed to make a video looking back and looking forward because it's the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022, and 2021 was a rough year for many of us. It was like a 2020 on repeat. COVID is still around, and lockdowns and job layoffs, and I've known a number of people who have been sick and hospitalized. I'm sure there's some you out there who know some people who died. It was tough. And 2022, is it going to be any better? On top of all the restrictions and all the personal tragedies that people faced in 2021, I'm sure you know that, some of you know that I've had a rough time with it mentally since I left my job back in 2020. I do a update video, like a vlog, every year on the anniversary of the channel to say, hey, thank you for the previous year. This is where I've got to. And I didn't do one in year 7. I didn't do one in 2021 because I wasn't in the right headspace for months to do it. I did come off the medication for my depression and anxiety in March, April, and then in a couple of months I went back on it again, and I'm back on it. It's I didn't know anything about depression years ago before it was prescribed to me, before I found out that I had it. It was work related pressures and things like that. And yeah, I just thought people who are depressed are just sad and snap out of it and things like that. But now I know. And now lots of you out there who do suffer from it know that it just doesn't go away. It comes in waves. At first, back in 2020, I never thought it would go. And it's so hard. It's such a different world that you're living in. It kills 10% of people. Such a different world, and it's about as close to hell as you can get. But I did come out of it, and now I know that it just doesn't end that quickly. Then you go back into it, and then you come out of it, and then you go back into it. But 2021 was better than 2020 for me personally. There have been periods of clarity, not clarity, but periods where I wasn't on the brink of hell. And so it's been a rough year for all of us, but I'm getting better. A lot of people ask me, how are you doing these days? Getting better. It's a process, right? I've come to discover. It's weird though, yeah, living my best life, playing 40k for a living, and with all you supporting me, and now at 100,000 subscribers, I should be dancing around the garden naked every day, but instead it's not like that. It's a roller coaster. As Ronan Keating said, life is a roller coaster, just gotta ride it all night long. So 2021 was rough. On top of that, we have Games Workshop being Games Workshop and making some of the worst decisions they've made in their history. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the match play version of the game, and I think this version of match play is the best version of match play that they've had. And I love playing open play and narrative as well, and I love painting and reading the books. I like all aspects of the hobby. But the state of the game right now and some of the decisions that Games Workshop has made as a company are just mind-boggling. The fact that there are some codexes that still have yet to be released, whereas we're getting supplements upon supplements on top of codexes that have been released, is just not the way you do it. It seems like a cynical cash grab from Games Workshop to monetize the IP as much as they can. That's where their brain seems to be focused on, rather than focused on making the IP, making the base game itself as accessible and open and fair and balanced for everyone, and then building on that foundation. They set down a foundation in 8th edition, and the share price went through the roof. And then the worst thing that happened to them was COVID, because during the COVID pandemic, loads of people came back into the hobby just to paint because they couldn't go out and do things. So they saw another surge in their share price during the COVID pandemic, because loads of us were hobbying away, because what else could we do in 2020 and 2021? And that's the worst thing that happened to Games Workshop, because then the people at the top making the decisions believed that all the decisions they were making were the right decisions, and they've doubled down. And now we're getting seasons for match play and more Octarius and more all of the rest of all these supplements, which are great from a narrative point of view, but from a gameplay point of view and a fair and balanced point of view is not the way that I would do it, and not the way I'm sure that most of you out there would do it. Most of you out there would probably agree the best way to do it is make the base game as accessible as it possibly can, the match play as good as it possibly can. One of my little bugbears is match play isn't really match play anymore, is it? It's competitive play. You're competing when you play match play. And so you've got people coming new into the hobby. They do a little bit of open war, do a little bit of homebrew games, and then the next step from that is this competitive level of play. There's nothing in the middle. There's no Maelstrom, there's no old school Eternal War. There's nothing in the middle for those casual gamers or people who only play every couple of months, or people who just want to go down to the hobby club and have a pickup game, or people who want to go from getting new into the hobby to trying out some systems of match play to then playing competitive play, because match play right now is competitive play. That's what you do at the tournaments. The chapter approved is even called a tournament pack thingy bob. And then there's the IP stuff that they've been doing with the content creators who are making videos. And then there's some of the other shady. It's been a rough year for the hobby. Having said all that, the game itself is good and the core gameplay is good, and play 40k your way. So if you like playing Horus Heresy, then play Horus Heresy. If you like playing pick-up open war games with your friends, play that. If you like playing match play, competitive play at tournaments and things like that, play that. But wouldn't it be better if all the 40k systems, Kill Team, Apocalypse, 40k was all the same base system? So you could switch and match between, if you pick up Kill Team, then you can easily get into 40k. If you get into 40k, you can always easily get into Hobby Apocalypse. But they seem to have split it up all over the place and made it harder and harder for people just to play the game. And having said all that, this looks like this is going to be the future for Games Workshop. That they've got this thing in their brain that supplements are here to stay. So 9th edition is about as accessible as, well, it's the least accessible edition, the hardest one to get into for new players. But there are new players coming in, and they have to navigate these waters and find and enjoy playing the hobby we love, or just hobbying the hobby we love by painting in miniatures and things like that. So it's been rough from a COVID point of view. It's been rough from a mental health point of view, and it's been rough because Games Workshop have been Games Workshop. So I couldn't do the 2021 7-year review video, and one of the things, and so that's that. So pluses, 100k subscribers, pluses. Liam Dempsey is out of the factory now, my partner in crime who helped set up Deployment Zone. Pluses, we have been out and about and grown the Deployment Zone community outside of the internet, in the real world, going to events and things. And I've managed to get to events and things, and No Retreat Legends, and win the No Retreat Legends trophy, and raise £15,000 for mental health charities through the No Retreat Legends thing, and then for various charities. And then at the streams that we did with Mini Wargaming Dave on Vanguard Tactics and on Liam Dempsey raised over £20,000 for charity. So us as a community, you guys as a community, have raised tens of thousands of pounds to help people less fortunate than us. So that's a massive plus. So that's the end. That's the end of 2021. 2022. What I need to do is, one of the most commented things I get, or suggestions, I get lots of suggestions. So you should do this, or you should play with these armies, or how about you could do this thing over here, or how about a bit of this, or how about a bit of that. And there's lots of things I could do. I could do AOS, I could do Aeronautica, I perhaps should do AOS to draw people in more. But I'm but one person, and I only have a certain amount of time, and I'm also in the very privileged position to do 40k full time, and burnout is real. And the way to protect against burnout, the way to make sure that you continue to love your hobby, and including you out there, the way that you make sure you continue to love your hobby is do what you want to do. If you want to paint XYZ, paint XYZ. If you want to take a time off, take time off. If you want to just play, you don't want to do all the tournament competitive stuff and just play open war games with your friends, pick up games with your friends, you just do that. It's your hobby. Play 40k your way so you enjoy your hobby. And I need to play 40k my way. I need to do what I want to do. And then the content I'm producing all the time is the content that I want to produce, not the content that I feel I should produce or could produce to help. I'm very aware that there's a number of things that I could be doing which would probably get me a chunk more subscribers and probably help put some AOS content up or other content up and flashy graphics and things and drive people to the deployment zone more to help support our community and help support the business, which helps keep you out of the factory essentially, because YouTube ad revenue is negligible. The reason why I'm able to do this is because of all the wonderful DeploymentZone.tv supporters who are supporting me on this journey. And there's lots of things I could do. I'm aware of that, but I don't want to do all the things I could and should do. I want to do the things I want to do, and I'm passionate about the hobby. So stick with the things that I want to do. I made that decision a couple of months ago. I made the decision to just keep doing what I want to do. So in 2022, what I want to do is I want to start a new project. I don't want to start and send an army away to Den of Imagination at the beginning of the year who painted up my Deathwing army, painted up Murphy's Wild, who painted up the Tau. I want to work on a new army myself, and in Deployment Zone we're running the Hobbypocalypse series. I put a video on YouTube about it, talking about the Hobbypocalypse, and I figured if I do $250 a month every month, that's what the Hobbypocalypse is, collect, paint and assemble and paint, 250 points a month for 6 months, and at the end of 6 months you have 1,500 points. Like 250 is one tank or 20 dudes. I'm like, I can do that, and I like doing that. So I'm going to start a new project from the ground up. I've been looking at my Necrons for years, and so my Necron tomb will awaken. And because it's going to be a journey with me, and because it's going to be narrative with me, the first 1,500 points will be mainly Canoptech stuff. Scarabs, Wraiths, Spiders, backed up with some Warriors and some Destroyers, and that's probably it. I might put in a few Lords and things, but that will probably be it. Phase 1 of the tomb waking up. Phase 2 of the tomb, and you'll see it evolve on the channel. Phase 2 on the tomb will be more of the elites and fast stuff, and then phase 3, maybe in a couple of years time, I might have some flying croissants and actually some tanks and things as the whole tomb awakens. I haven't got a name for the tomb yet, haven't got a narrative behind the tomb yet, other than let's make a tomb world rise. And then I should post some videos on that, either in Deployment Zone or on YouTube, not sure yet which, and follow the boys on the Hobbypocalypse through the start of 2022, and then have some games at the Hobbypocalypse event for the Deployment Zone subs in August, which is around the time of the open day as well, the DZ open day. So I like that journey, follow that journey through. That sounds like a nice thing to do. Get back into hobbying, just hobbying. I've done a lot of hobbying. Did a chunk of Deathwatch, which I played competitively for a bit. I've added 30 or 40 models to my Grey Knights. I've added all of Reaper Company, and I did some over Christmas as well. But these are bits that you're adding into armies. Added to my AdMech, added some Primera stuff to the 13th, but these are bits that you're added in. I'm thinking it would be really cool to do a new project from the ground up with some really cool bases. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to do that. The other thing I want to do is I want to continue with the battle reports, and I don't necessarily enjoy reviewing Games Workshop stuff very much at the moment because I'm so pissed off with them, and because some of the new codexes make my brain bleed, and I haven't reviewed. I've got some comments previously. I haven't reviewed some of the codexes or supplements that came out, and some of you noticed and messaged me, and why haven't you done this, or are you going to do this? And the answer is, at the time I was probably really feeling it mentally, and I couldn't dig my way through it. I do remember a couple of codexes when that was the case, and on other occasions I really didn't want to. But I've also realized that there are a lot of people out there that like my frank, short, down-to-earth. So there's a couple coming up in early 2022, and I will, if I'm not dying on the inside, I will find the time to read through a couple of times and review and do a 20-30 minute video of the codex reviews, because I know that some people really appreciate my type of codex review, which isn't just reading every single page 2 hours long, or isn't honing in on the best stuff. It's more of a general feel of what's inside the codex. That's what I'm trying to go for, where the good bits are, where the bits that suck are, things like that. And also doing that type of deep dive analysis helps me, because I make battle report content, and it's not necessarily deep dive, but what I do is I read it, then I read it again, and then when I'm doing the review I'm reading it again, and then when I come in the editing process I notice a few things and I read it again, and by the time I'm actually facing that army or fielding that army, I've got a solid-ish understanding of what that army does. So it does help me, rather than just pick it up and go when I'm doing a battle report. So I need to do that for my own sanity, if not for the content, and if not for you guys. Even though I don't necessarily want to, because some of the codex really suck right now, because their complexity is just, I mean, my brain. One of the things about depression is it's actually physiological. There's physical things that happen to your brain. Your hippocampus shrinks, your forebrain shrinks. There are real things that I know now, and so my ability to concentrate has concentration and memory is not what it was. I used to be a really prolific reader and never have Audible. I'd read all the Horus Heresy stuff, read lots and lots of stuff. When I went on holiday recently, a couple of months ago, in the middle of the pandemic, and one of the dips, like a couple of years ago, for example, I took all of the Gaunt's Ghost series with me when I went on holiday. When I say I'm a prolific reader, I was able to read it all on the 10 days that were, minus a couple of books that hadn't been released yet, but I was able to read it all in 10 days, because I can easily get through a book or two a day if I'm really in it. And then I took the Dune saga with me to holiday a couple of months ago, and I read a book and a half of that, and I read Warhawk. And that took me the 12 days that we were there. And that also involved me going back a chapter and restarting it or pausing. You enter a flow state when you're reading, and most of the time when I'm reading, I'm okay, but then the brain, an hour in or 2 hours in, goes click, and then so that is a really frustrating side effect of where I've been mentally. But like I said, I'm getting better, and I can read now, which is different to what it was 6 months ago or 9 months ago, where just getting through one codex was so hard. And they're still hard because they're crap, but they are what we've got. And this is the 40k that we've got to play with. So this is the 40k that I'm playing with, because I love 40k. And if this is the state of the game, then this is the state of the game. I played through the dark times of 7th edition, but 9th edition is potentially, in my view, not potentially, 9th edition is worse than 7th. There's far more supplements. It's far more complex. It's far harder for people to get into. The balance is worse than it was in 7th, when you had free formations that could just hoover up other stuff off the table. At least each faction had their own formations and their own power play, so to speak. Whereas in this one, the balance is yeah. Anyway, what am I talking about? Reading. That was what I was talking about. Codex reviews. I will be doing codex reviews because it helps me and because I am able to read. It's hard. So 2022 Codex reviews are coming up, all the battle reports that I normally do coming up. I will be doing the project, the Necrons project. And the last thing I'm going to do is, I did a live stream with Mini Wargaming Dave, Vanguard Tactics and Liam on that charity thing, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I've done some interaction with people at events now, like at the DZ Days or the DZ Narrative event and some other events. My brain has gone, and I really enjoyed. One of the best aspects of the hobby is talking about other people, talking to other people in the hobby, right? Sitting around with your mates, chatting away and talking about the hobby, the state of the game, or a book you've read, or what color scheme you've done, or thoughts, ideas, impressions, things like that. So one of the things I want to do in 2022 is none of the other content that I'm doing isn't going to change, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to live stream every now and then. I think the intention is, Liam Dempsey does live streams every Wednesday on his YouTube channel, almost all Wednesdays. I think the intention is to go down to do live streams with him at least twice a month, every month, one for his channel, one for my channel, as a way of interacting with the community more. And because I enjoy it, because that's something I want to do. I like playing with Liam and my friends and on camera and bantering away. It's not about crushing the soul out of your other opponent. It's about trying to have as much fun as possible and trying to entertain you guys as much as possible. And because you're trying to entertain and you're trying to be silly, then you are entertaining each other and being silly with each other. A live stream that isn't about, here's the 2,000 points match play experience and this is how I maximize my points, but the live play experience along the lines of, let's have fun, let's throw dice and let's banter and call each other silly names, and it will probably be R-rated. So you can expect to see live streams coming on Winters SEO in 2022 because it's fun, right? And the other thing I think I want to do is, lots of people do, we talked about live streaming before, the talking head videos like this, but the opportunity for you to talk back to me. I think I should start doing them, but my head isn't, so I can't do them weekly. I won't be able to do them weekly. I think I could probably commit to one a month. So I've got, Liam's coming up a couple of days time. We're going to set up a stream deck and he will show me how it works and figure it all out on camera. You might see some testing screens flicker up on YouTube. And then I think if I could do, I can't commit to any date of the month, but I'd like to, I want to sit down and talk to you at least once a month. And because I get ideas like this has been bubbling for a while. I should really talk about 2021. I should have really done that video at the 7-year mark. Where am I? Thanking people for the hobby for the previous 7 years. What am I? And this has turned into that in a rambling, weird way, but I should really do this more, and then this perhaps wouldn't be as rambling and weird. And also, I'm also conscious that this rambling stream of content isn't exactly what most people want, but some people do want it. Some people do like listening to this while they're painting away and listening to my weird mind wander off in all sorts of directions. Some people would like to talk back to me. So I like talking to people about 40k, and I think the live stream will scratch that itch, and it'll be good for me, good for you. And just do it every now and then, once a month maybe, and do live streams every now and then, because that's fun. That's a way of interacting with people more and interacting and playing the game more, playing 40k my way. And so that's coming in 2022. On top of that, in 2022, what are we doing? I think that's it. Well, there's obviously campaigns. There's Necromunda Season 2. Other things I can't really talk about. But we have plans and ideas and plans, and at least one or two of them will come to fruition in 2022. Yeah, I also want to get out in the community more. So I'm going to King in the North. I'm going to a weekend at Bernie's for all of you who are going to those events. I'll see you there. Those are Deployment Zone exclusive events. So I'm going to them and playing in them, so you have a chance to play me. Going to Shakespeare Smackdown, going to the Southwest Showdown Part 2, again DZTV event, sorry for people who aren't subscribed. But there's an opportunity for people for me to interact with the community and play against people in my community. That would be really, really fun, good fun. But I'm also going to go to some non-DZT events. The Factorum, who make foregroundpublishing.co.uk, I've got a video coming out with them tomorrow, who make the train, they're the foreground people, run a tournament, a match play tournament once a month, every month at the end, last weekend of the month, Factorum. You can go on their Facebook page, Google Factorum. And yeah, it's the last weekend of the month, every month. And I want to go to 2 or 3 of them next year because 1, they're close to me. 2, I'm hearing really good feedback on them because I'm not a big fan of tournaments because sometimes you run into that guy. And they're more of a friendly, hobby-based. It's not... What I'm hearing is at the Factorum events, most people aren't going there to crush and destroy and to win. Most people are going out there to test their lists out and have a good time and score as many points as they can with their list. There's a right way to do match play, in my humble opinion, and a wrong way to do tournament play. There's a right way to do tournament play and a wrong way to do tournament play, in my opinion. So this is not right or wrong, it's just my opinion. In my opinion, the wrong way to do it is to go to a tournament, to go to a competitive event and try and beat everyone there and try and win as much as you can. Now, in my opinion, that's a consequence of the right mindset, which is the right mindset is a level lower than that. And the level lower than that is, this is my army and I want to play my army to the best of my ability. And if you play your army to the very best of your ability, then hopefully you will win and beat your opponents and and that type of mindset I feel is the right way to go with match play, tournament play, because then it's not about crushing anyone. It's not about gotcha moments. It's not... See, one of the best ways, if I'm trying to play my match play army at a tournament as best as I possibly can, to be the best general of this thing as I possibly can, then I'm potentially telling my opponent, oh, this could happen over here, or this could happen over here. Or if they're unfamiliar with certain strats or things in my army, letting them know in advance that there's certain strats and things that my army can do. And the other thing I'm trying to do is potentially help my opponent beat me. Because if they're trying to beat me, or not necessarily help them beat me, but help them enjoy the game, help them play their best game too. Because if I'm playing my best game and I'm playing it against a person who's playing their best game, then we're both playing the best possible version of competitive 40k. Yeah. So I'm hearing a lot of feedback at the Factorum that it's more towards that mindset. It's less whack, less gotcha, less I'm trying to destroy everyone. I'm coming in here and destroying everyone. You know, a lot of people go to big tournaments. Well, hundreds of people go to big tournaments. And there's a certain percentage of people who leave after the first game. I think the dropout rate at the LVO or the London GT is somewhere at 5%. It might be higher. So that means there's people going to these big tournaments and they've lost their first game. So they leave because they can't win now. And I find that crazy. I find that odd. But that's my opinion, and other people play 40k their way, and I know people, and I've got good friends who get their enjoyment from winning. If they don't win, they don't enjoy the game, so they want to win, and they need to win for their enjoyment's sake. They're not necessarily whack players, but that's where they get their serotonin kick. I have won, and there are people built like that. That's just not me. But yeah, the fact that some people leave after losing the first game, after paying to go to one of these events and potentially paying for the hotel and potentially traveling all the way there, it's just, some people are built differently. Some people do it that way, and good for them. If that's what makes them happy, good for them. But yeah, so I'm going to the Factorum the last weekend of January for their first event in 2022. So I think there's tickets still available for that. So you can buy your tickets for that and I'll be there. And then I want to go to, I think the next one is March or April that I have a window to go for. But the intention is to go to 3 or 4 of these next year as well. Because it's just down the road for me. I can drive there, drive back, don't need to stay there. I know a lot of the DZ regulars go there. I know Liam goes there. I know Quips has been there. I know Katie Plays has been there. Vanguard Tactics go there. There's a number of people that I've met in the community that go there. And it'd be nice to bump into them again. I know a couple of the SEOs want to come with me as well. Grey Knight SEO, Alex SEO, some of the OG before we even set up a YouTube channel, before I even set up a YouTube channel. So I'm looking forward to getting out in the community more with the DZTV events and with regular events, because that's what I want to do. Get out and talk to people and meet people and play 40K. That's what I need to do. And then it doesn't become a job. Then it's a hobby that I enjoy doing what I want to do. And then that comes across on camera. Surely I'm doing things that I want to do. So that's the end of 2021. 2021 was an annus horribilis for all of us. Some of us personally, some of us mentally, some of us physically, some of us because of our job, some of us for all sorts of reasons. And mental health is no joke. And a lot of people are suffering through this pandemic. So I'm doing what I can to help people that I know here or there, and we've raised a lot of money for charity, so thank you for that, anyone who contributed during any of those events that I mentioned. 2022 will be, 2021 was better for me than 2020, much better. Still 2 Steps from Hell, which are an awesome band. 2022 should be better than 2021. I will be connecting with you more on live streams and the occasional talking head thing, as well as the other videos I do. I will not be doing Blood Bowl or Aeronautica or AOS or any of that. I can't see myself doing that at this time. I might do it in the future, but at this time it isn't what I want to do. What I want to do is build up my Necron tomb. What do I call my tomb world? Ninja Penguin or something, I don't know. Build up my Necron tomb, play 40K my way, and share my hobby experience with this awesome community that we've built together. So thank you for being part of my awesome hobby community. If you're a Deployment Zone TV supporter, thank you for being an awesome supporter and literally playing for my mortgage and keeping me out of the factory. I love you. There is a YouTube video coming up tomorrow, DZTV people, because you'll notice that there's an adjustment because Liam's gone full time now. So YouTube tomorrow and with me, and then the usual DZTV video with me on Tuesday as well. So you're going to get one from me on Sunday and one from me on Tuesday. And then I think I'm live streaming on the Wednesday, I think. So over the Christmas period, it might have felt a bit barren, but that's the adjustment to the 2022 way of schedule. Way of schedule? That's a word now. Yeah. So, happy wargaming.